No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for May 8th, 2023. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. Much appreciation to you all. Shout out to the early birds, Gomer Kyle, Darren G, David Estevez, D. Martin Fifth, Ryan Dempsey, Duke Jensen, CC Drink, and Arlene, Endeavor Representative, Walter Cruz, of course. Thank you all for tuning in early. Now, let's get into the show. We had a video package, World Heavyweight Championship, showcasing all of the participants for this tournament. Part 1 on Raw, Part 2 on SmackDown, and then the winners from each brand go on to Night of Champions later this month in Saudi Arabia. Cody Rhodes came down to the ring in his ring gear for a promo. Why he was cutting a promo when he wasn't having his match is beyond me, but he came out there in his ring gear for a promo, talked about Jacksonville being his home during the pandemic, little reference to AEW, brought up how he discovered what Brock Lesnar is made of. Literally, it was all over his fist. He made Lesnar bleed. And now Brock Lesnar is in the rear view mirror, which is funny because I remember WWE is recycling angles now. Last year, Cody Rhodes beat Seth Rollins and said that Seth Rollins was in the rear view mirror and he was moving on. And then sure enough, Seth Rollins came out, wanted another match, and you could pretty much guess where this is going with Brock Lesnar. Cody said, let the tournament begin, and then Cody left. So he came out there in his ring gear, cut a promo, and then left. And Seth Rollins came out for his match in the tournament. Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Endeavor Representative, who seems to be here on Monday nights exclusively, sent in a $5 super chat, says, I'm beginning to believe that I was given this job just as a form of torture. The board isn't going to be very happy with my weekly Raw report tomorrow. Well, give them hell, Endeavor Representative. Let them know to never go to Jacksonville, Florida again, because they were not a good crowd this week. And I definitely felt like WWE had to pipe in a little bit of crowd noise. Jacksonville might be the new Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi a few weeks ago was a better crowd than Jacksonville. The Real Wyatt sent in a super chat, but he said save it for the end, so that I will do. All right. Rollins versus Priest versus Nakamura. Priest cut a little promo before the match, said that it took an entire island to bring him down at Backlash. Priest dominated early on, and eventually he got double teamed, was sent out of the ring. Priest was selling his left leg from Backlash, and it was competitive with all three, but I think we all knew going in that Rollins was the clear favorite to win this. Priest tried the Razor's Edge, but his leg gave out on him. Rollins hit the stomp to Priest, but Nakamura broke up the pin. Nakamura and Rollins traded some blows after Shin said to come on. Priest got back into the mix. Nakamura applied a leg submission to Priest, trying to finish him off, but then Rollins came off the top with a frog splash and pinned Nakamura to advance in the tournament. Good match, but no surprise here. And yes, Nakamura did take the pin. And yes, I was expecting Nakamura to take the pin anyways. But yeah, he held his own. He put up a good fight. But I'm still not really sold on Nakamura's direction. And we'll get to that here in just a few moments. Backstage, Imperium, they were walking around. Gunther's coming next week for some reason instead of this show, but whatever. No real reason why. He's just coming next week. And during this backstage segment, they confronted Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. things got heated and this set up a tag match for later. We had Otis versus Mustafa Ali, which seems like the most random ass match ever, considering you have a bunch of new people on Raw. Why not showcase the new people? Chad Gable and Maxine Dupree were trying to motivate Otis in different ways. Maxine wanted the caterpillar. Gable wanted Otis to take things seriously. And Ali took advantage of this and won with the 450. I do not care about Ali at this stage of the game. And Otis, like, I wanted to see him and Chad Gable as a serious babyface tag team. Not a fan of this stuff with the Maximum Male motto. So, yeah, to me, this was just filler. I think they should have done something with some of the NXT people. And maybe even some of the SmackDown people drafted to Raw, but whatever. Oh, yeah. I forgot that Gunther got married. That's the real reason why he wasn't there. But kayfabe, I'm not even sure if they said anything. Did they say that Gunther got married? I did not hear it if they did, but correct me if I'm wrong. We had our second triple threat match, Cody Rhodes versus Finn Balor versus The Miz. Miz is in this match to take the pinfall. I mean, it's blatant as hell. So Cody got in some early offense. His shoulder was taped up, but he kept on fighting, and he came off with a double Cody cutter. And eventually, Miz got the upper hand, skull-crushing finale to Balor, but Cody broke up the pin, and then Cody delivered 3 crossroads to Miz and was on the verge of winning, but guess who showed up? Surprise, surprise. Brock Lesnar pulled Cody out of the ring, gave him the F5 on the floor. It's no DQ in triple threat matches, and Finn Balor pinned The Miz with a coup de grace. Now, the only surprise here for me was that Cody did not advance to the finals and then Brock Lesnar showed up. I think it would have made for a stronger ending to Raw personally, but they did this angle early on in the show. And we had Brock Lesnar. He had the stitches and his eye was black. Brock Lesnar looked like the Frankenstein monster. And I have to say, like, he did a great job here. Brock got on the mic and he told the cameraman to look at him. He was screaming. And I was scared. Like, Brock Lesnar came off like the scariest human being on the planet here. And, I felt it. I felt bad for Cody watching it on TV as a viewer. Cody has done messed up. And Brock got on the mic. He gave Cody an F5 through the announce table, by the way, and asked if Cody wants to take credit for the damage to Brock's face. And then Brock said he wants to talk about a fight at Night of Champions. This was the best thing on the show. In my opinion, Brock Lesnar gave one of the best performances of his career. Easily the highlight of Monday Night Raw to set up Night of Champions. We had Rhea Ripley with Dominic, Dom versus Dana Brooke. So you do the draft and there's new people and Dana Brooke's on Raw, whatever. And she cut a backstage promo saying she's going to show some untapped potential. Spoiler alert, she did not. She got in like one offensive move in the match. I think a bulldog, went for a crossbody. Rhea Ripley caught her, slammed her down, and then hit the riptide, then applied the prison lock submission and got the easy win. After the match, Rhea Ripley continued the attack, and Natalya from SmackDown, which I guess answers my request for some SmackDown people to be featured, but not Natalya. I hate to say it. With all due respect to Natalya, she ain't beating Rhea Ripley for the title. So this is a filler feud, but that's fine. do a match on Raw, and move on. Dominic whispered something to Rhea Ripley when they were having the little face-off, and Rhea Ripley backed off. Do not really care about this, but I guess it's somebody else to be fed to Rhea Ripley until we get to the bigger pay-per-views. Robert Hansen with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, random question. Which move is more likely to pick up the pinfall, the Blue Thunder Bomb or the Deep Six? Well, Baron Corbin has to get on TV to even put that question to test, but I feel like the Deep Six actually got a few wins. Maybe I'm wrong, but I seem to remember, like against lower tier guys, he actually beat them with the Deep Six, from what I recall at least. I would say Corbin's move more likely, but both are highly unlikely. We finally had somebody from NXT on the show. Zoe Stark backstage cutting a promo, and she ended up challenging Nikki Cross, who was just standing around, and that match took place later. We'll get to that in a few minutes. We had Imperium versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Filler match, but it was fine. Pretty standard tag team match here. Imperium using the numbers game, double teaming Owens and Zayn, but eventually the good guys pulled off the win. Kevin Owens stunned Kaiser, and Zayn tagged in, pinned Vinci with the Helluva Kick. They move on to whatever their next match is. Still no real clear direction on who's going to be challenging Owens and Zayn. And with Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia, maybe there's no rush to build up a team for them just yet. Backstage, Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville were going around wanting signatures for this petition. They wanted to get a rematch for the women's tag team titles because they got robbed, they got cheated, and they wanted the Way to sign. We had the Way reunited, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Dexter Lumis, and Indy Hartwell. And Dexter gave them the thumbs down. They would not sign it. The most interesting thing about this segment was Johnny Gargano perhaps threw a little tease that Tommaso Ciampa will be returning soon, said that he is coming back soon, but did not say Ciampa by name. That's more intriguing than most of the stuff that happened on this show, quite frankly. We had Zoe Stark versus Nikki Cross, basically a showcase match for Zoe Stark. She picked up the win with a super kick, followed by a move called the Z360, where she flips Nikki Cross around and delivers a knee to the chin, kind of like the go to sleep a little bit. Basic match here just to build up Zoe Stark. And not much else to say about it. Crowd really did not react to Zoe Stark, but number one, it was Jacksonville, and number two, she's just getting established. So we'll see what happens with her. And Michael sent in a $2 super chat, says, didn't Cole say that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens can be on both shows? I do not know. They were drafted to Raw, but I mean, there's only one set of tag team titles right now. So you would think that if anybody could, it would be them, but I really don't know. If he said it, I missed it. We had Rhea Ripley. She was backstage with Dom Dom cutting a promo, but then Xavier Woods and Tozawa were standing around laughing at them. So this led to a match between Woods and Dom Dom. Rhea Ripley accepted the match on Dom Dom's behalf, and Xavier called him Dum Dum. We had Trish Stratus come into the ring with her missing posters. Becky Lynch has been gone for a month. Trish cut a promo, asked if anybody had seen Becky Lynch, said that Becky Lynch will probably turn up in some dark corner in Iowa crying with her dumb daughter. That's what Trish Stratus said. And Trish said that Becky will not be coming to Raw because Raw is Trish's show and nobody is stealing her spotlight. Right then, Becky's music hit, but it was a fake out. Kind of like 2005 Shawn Michaels with the fake out, having Bret Hart's music play in Montreal. Big difference is we were in Jacksonville, Florida, not Montreal. So anyways, Trish fooled everybody, but then Becky's music hit again, and this time it was in fact the real Becky Lynch showing up in the ring from behind, and she punched out Trish Stratus, punched her several times, sent her out of the ring. Segment was fine. Still not really feeling this feud yet, though. And I'm hopeful that they can build some momentum with it, and I can actually care about it when they finally do the match. We had a backstage vignette with Jinder Mahal and his tag team Indus Share, or whatever they're called. You have, what's his name? I forgot his name. The guy that's always coming. Oh, Veer. Veer Mahan is once again coming. Boy, oh boy, I cannot wait for these guys to be on Monday Night Raw. Endeavor representative sent in a $2 super chat, says, did Becky look perpetually dehydrated to you? I mean, she had a different kind of makeup than what she usually uses, so I guess that answers your question. But, I mean, she looked fine to me, just different. Thank you for the super chat. And backstage, Miz talked to Nakamura, said that if they had agreed to have each other's backs like he suggested, maybe they would have advanced in the tournament matches. Miz once again asked if they could work together, and Nakamura said next week it will be Miz and Nakamura one-on-one. I thought we saw this match 2 weeks ago, or a week ago. Anyways, definitely feels like Vince with the rematches. I do not care about this feud. Miz, like, man, he is just really struggling to mean something at this point. Like, every time he's out there in a match, I just don't really care. Like, he had a really good match with Rollins. Endeavor representative sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, WWE desperately needs DIY and other tag teams. I agree. Just not Jinder Mahal's team. That's all. But yeah, bring in some solid tag teams. We had Liv Morgan and Raquel, the women's tag team champions, signing the petition. They were fine with fighting Sonya and Chelsea again. I guess they're living through Vince McMahon, loving these rematches. Sonya and Chelsea said that they plan on facing Damage Control. Damage Control, they're getting the tag team opportunity on SmackDown. So that is that. We had Cody with a backstage promo, said that this is the second time Brock Lesnar has attacked him for no good reason, and he doesn't think Brock Lesnar can handle losing the main event grip that he's had for so many years. And Cody officially accepted the challenge for Night of Champions. There you go. Brock Lesnar, Cody Rhodes, as I expected, for the next event. You just cannot have an event in Saudi Arabia without Brock Lesnar, bottom line. We had our main event of the evening, Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. Good match here, and they had a little callback to SummerSlam from 2016, only this time it was Balor power bombing Rollins into the barricade, and it went back and forth for a bit. It was a good match, but the lack of crowd heat, I think, really hurt it. The crowd was singing Rollins' song, but they were struggling. Like, I feel like there was a This Is Awesome chant, but it was a very faint one towards the end. And Rollins was selling his arm. Balor kept trying to put him away. Rollins managed to hit a one-armed pedigree, but Balor kicked out of it. And eventually Rollins was able to pick up the win with an inverted stop, followed by the regular stop. And Seth freaking Rollins goes on to Night of Champions. Show was decent, but I have to be completely on the up and up here. I was Brock Lesnar was far and away the highlight to me. Everything else, like, felt very skippable, very uneventful. I'm not invested in a lot of these storylines. Even Trish and Becky, not really feeling it. Not feeling the Nakamura feud. Don't care about Jinder Mahal's group. Xavier Woods, not really doing much of anything. Did I even talk about Xavier versus Dominic? I think I actually skipped over the match, so I guess I'll talk about it real quick. Match was fine. Back and forth for a bit. But then Rhea Ripley got involved. No surprise there. Rhea Ripley actually pulled Dominic out of the ring as Xavier was going for a flying elbow. Dominic got back in the ring and pinned Woods. So Dominic picks up the win. And Xavier Woods, he's just got nothing going on while his buddies are hurt, basically. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat, says, Saudi Arabia has Night of Champions. This Raw pretty much Night of Jobbers or Night of Fillers or Night of Chumps, except for Brock Lesnar. You said it just as good as I could have said it. So thank you for that, Walter Cruz. Much appreciated to the simple follow. Make sure you guys do follow him, Walter Cruz, on social media outlets. I give the show a C+. Like, to me, Brock Lesnar definitely elevated it. The world title matches were good, but everything else I think you could have skipped. C+, I think, is generous. And I was really hoping to see more of the NXT people. Like, let's showcase some of the guys that can go, like JD, what's his name? Or just anybody that we haven't really seen much of. I mean, not Dana Brooke, but some of the people that have actually got people hyped up and people have been talking about. Like, I feel that more could have been done here for the first show with the new rosters. Just felt a bit flat to me. So all in all, decent, but could have been better. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching tonight. I appreciate the viewership and support. McDonough is how you pronounce his name. J.D. McDonough. I'm going to have to hear the name like 20 times before I can pronounce it correctly. So thank you all for tuning in. And Hamp Connell sent in a $2 super chat, says, did you ever play WCW Super Brawlers on Super NES? I don't think so. I mostly played the WWF games on Super Nintendo. Royal Rumble was probably my favorite one. And Raw was a good game. I enjoyed those two. Though those were the ones I remember the most from that 16-bit era of wrestling games. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Much love and appreciation to everybody out there. Spread the word about NoDQ.com. Stay tuned to NoDQ for the very latest. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com. And I will see you all next time.